everybody, welcome back again to our video of us in class in Sunday school. This is so weird and so different. I can't believe we're doing this again, but hey, we're doing it. It's fun. It's going to be awesome, and we're going to keep teaching because, golly, the Bible's vast. There's so much to tell you, and there's so much to do. We're just still going to get it done. Don't you love that? That church didn't just stop, and we all just kind of went away, kind of like some of us with school. We just kind of got to go home and woo, no more. Not with Sunday school. Sunday school's still coming at you. So we're picking up. Last week, Mr. John taught to us about John the Baptist. Now, I know what you're thinking. Whoa, didn't Jesus die on the cross and raise again and go into heaven? Yes, he did all of those things. But what we're doing is we're going back into Jesus' ministry. So we learn about Jesus as a little kid going to the temple. Then we fast forward to when he's about 30 years old. And Jesus starts his earthly ministry. And he starts that right after John the Baptist baptizes him. So he gets baptized, that he has some temptations. Well, then he's like, all right, now that I'm baptized, I've been tempted, I'm ready to start teaching people this awesome news about my kingdom, about me I am going to die on the cross, but I got to teach people about this. I can't just let it all happen. I've got to give them the details. So he begins going around and collecting up disciples. And so he does this kind of, we would think if we're reading the story, and as I read the story, it seems kind of random. But when we really look at it, it's kind of awesome that Jesus would choose these type of people. Now, what I find once again interesting about this, and I mentioned this when I would talk to y'all on Palm Sunday, is that we have this recollection or this recording of all these different, of Jesus going around and collecting up all these different disciples in 3 of our 4 Gospels. So if we're thinking about our Gospels, remember those are the first 4 books of the New Testament. That's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So for 3 of them to talk about Jesus coming and bringing together, collecting up disciples, that means it's an awesome, awesome thing. And it's something we definitely want to make sure that we read each account because each disciple is going to tell the story a little bit differently, which makes sense. If you and your friend go to, the park, and both of you have an experience, maybe your friend falls down and you laugh. Well, obviously, you're both going to have a different perspective of that story because your friend fell down and you laughed. So you would think it was funny, but your friend would probably not think that. That's not happening here in this story. Everybody is very excited about Jesus looking back, how they can see Jesus called me. Jesus said, hey, I want you to be my disciple. I want you to be the person that comes and follows me. So I'm actually going to read our story for us today. And if you're in my class on Sunday mornings, which I know, think way back to when that was, I like to read the story and I like for you to participate. Now I know I'm looking at a camera right now. I'm not looking at your face. So we're going to have to really work hard here. But I'm going to read this story. And every time you hear the word Jesus, I want you to give a tally. Now, if you're one of my younger friends, use your hands. I know you're probably going to run out of hands, and that's okay, but I want you to at least participate. So you're listening for the word Jesus. Got it? Don't start counting right now. That Jesus didn't count. When I start reading, that's when we're going to start counting Jesus. Now, also my younger friends, if you don't want to use your hands, little piece of paper, marking it down, older friends, 5th graders, anybody who else is older, parents, you can help them out. Once again, counting, getting it down. We're listening for the name of Jesus. So let's read this story. Start counting now, ministry had begun. He traveled around preaching about God and telling people to turn away from their sin. So far, you should have 1, okay? Here we go. People started talking about Jesus and the things he was teaching. They were interested in what Jesus had to say. Large crowds followed Jesus around and listened to him teach. One day, Jesus was walking along the Sea of Galilee. He saw 2 brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew. Peter and Andrew were fishermen. Now I'm going to pause for a second. We don't have fishermen when we are looking at jobs or people having jobs. That's kind of something that we're like, okay, that's probably a neat job. In all honesty, guys, being a fisherman was really low down. Most of the time, fishermen didn't have a lot of education, meaning they weren't very smart. They just went out and caught fish. Very, very simple. So that's not like Jesus is going to talk to like the governor or a king or a person who makes rules. No, he's going to talk and get people to follow him that catch fish. Now, I don't know if you've ever caught a fish, held a fish, smelled a fish, but they're kind of icky. But that's who Jesus goes to. Once again, I love it. All right, picking up, keep that count going. Here we go. Jesus called out to them, follow me, and I'll teach you to fish for people. What? I know, Jesus is crazy. Right away, Peter and Andrew dropped their nets and followed Jesus. Later, he saw 2 more brothers. Their names were James and John. They were in a boat fixing their nets. for their father Zebedee. Jesus called out for them, and right away they got up and left their father's boat and followed Jesus. Jesus went on and saw a man named Matthew. Okay, so we've got some fishermen. Jesus is going to change things up a bit. Let's see who Matthew is. Matthew was sitting at the tax office. Now, your parents probably know a lot about taxes right now, and even when you say tax, even today people get all uptight because taxes are not something fun then and now. So Jesus calls a tax person. Matthew was a tax collector. Many people didn't like tax collectors because they were unfair. Unfair means they weren't right. If a tax collector back in that time, if he said, let's say the person actually only owed, let's say $10. Well, the tax collector would say, you owe $20. Well, he would give the government or whoever was asking, whoever's in charge, he'd give them the $10 they wanted, but then he would keep 10. So he's being unfair. He's lying to people. That's not great, okay? But Jesus goes to him. Y'all, okay, back to our story. I'm sorry if I said Jesus multiple times. You're great. Jesus called out to him and said, follow me. So Matthew got up, left everything behind, and followed Jesus. Matthew had a big feast for Jesus, which, let's think about this, guys. If you were a tax collector, you were cheating people, and this Messiah, this promised one, comes to you, someone who's lying and cheating and ripping people off and says, hey, follow me, I've got something better. Yeah, you're going to be like, why me? Why? I don't deserve this. But that's who Jesus comes to. Isn't that awesome? We'll get to that application in just a second. So Matthew throws a party at his house. Many tax collectors and sinners came to eat with Jesus and his disciples. There were some religious leaders, though. Golly, they're always running on the parade. And they saw this, and they didn't think Jesus should be friends with people who did wrong things. Now let's pause, and let's just think for a second. How many people in this world have never done anything wrong? I know what you're thinking. You listened to Brother John or Mr. John's lesson last week. You've been serving all this week and just being so great. But remember the week before when you pushed your sibling? Yeah, see, you've done wrong. I've done wrong. We've all done wrong. So it's kind of funny that the tax collectors would the religious leaders would come to Jesus and say, why are you hanging out with sinners? They're sinners. We're all sinners. So when Jesus is coming to people, any person, it's him coming to a sinner. We might think we're great. We might think we're awesome, but we're really not. We're all sinners. Okay? So Jesus heard the religious leaders and said, people who are healthy don't need a doctor, but people who are sick do. I did not come to invite good people. I put good in quotes like that because they're not really that good. None of us are really good. I came to invite sinners to turn back to God. Later, Jesus gathered his followers together and chose 12 of them to be his apostles. Now, here are the 12 that he chose. Okay, so keep count with me. Make sure I got all 12. Here we go. Jesus chose these men. Simon, who was called Peter, so that's one. Simon's brother, Andrew, James and John, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James the son of, his dad has a fun name, Alphaeus. I'll let you look in the Bible and correct me later. Thaddeus, Judas, and I missed one. I'll say them again. You keep count. I'm going to say them. You count on your fingers this time. You ready? Here we go. Simon, who is Peter? So it's one person. Andrew, James, John, Philip, Matthew, Thomas, James, Thaddeus, Simon. Ooh, there it was. Simon the Zealot. We forgot about him. Zealot just means he's really eager and excited about stuff. I think I'd like that guy. And then Judas. All right, so there we go. There's everybody. So these are the 12 people that Jesus called, the 12 disciples that Jesus calls together. Now, what I was getting at earlier is that it's amazing that Jesus would come to these people. Okay? The religious leaders are looking down on these people once again. Why are they looking down? Who knows? We're all sinners. We're all the same. Jesus has come for everybody. But in the world standards, the 12 people Jesus chose were like, really? These are the people you're about to completely change the world with? And Jesus is like, yeah, that's why I'm Jesus. I make miracles happen every single day. I can take fishermen, I can take tax collectors, and I can make great things happen. So I guess that's why I love this story. And I'm going to pause. How many times did you count the name Jesus? To my count, there should be at least 20. Now, I know I probably said it 20 gazillion times, but if you got somewhere in the area of 20, awesome job. Virtual high five going to you because that's great. I'm glad you were listening. Hey, if you have a younger sibling or someone younger in the room and they didn't get as many, hey, they can still get a virtual high five. You actually high five them and let them know, hey, I'm glad they were listening. But back to what I was saying, I think it's awesome because that means Jesus can use anybody. So if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I am 6 years old, guess what? Jesus can use you. If you're sitting there like, well, I'm in 5th grade and I can't drive, so I can't do anything. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know what you can do? We can go back to what Mr. John said last week, and we can just be kind. We can just encourage people. Encouragement, kindness, helping your mom out, being a voice of positivity in somebody's life, you never know how much of an impact that can have. So when we say, oh, I can't be used until I'm older, until I can drive, until I'm my sibling's age, until I'm, able to do fill in the blank, that's not true. Jesus took fishermen. They weren't highly educated. They didn't know how to work an iPhone, yet Jesus took them, and guess what? We are here today. I know, me here at church, you at your home, but we know about Jesus today because of these guys. So you don't know what impact you can have. You don't know how Jesus can help you. And then here, let's do this. Example. All right, I want you right now to go. Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't tell you what to go do. Let's do something else. All right, I want you to draw. Draw my favorite. Oh, yeah, no, I didn't tell you my favorite thing to draw. Okay, I want you to get your parents' iPhone and pull up YouTube. Isn't that video so fun? Oh, wait, I didn't tell you which one. Okay, I'm doing this for a reason. When Jesus came, he didn't just come to his disciples and say, all right, you're together, everybody in team. All right, go. And then Jesus head back to heaven. No, that's not what he did. He came and he taught them. We have record of Jesus teaching his disciples for 3 whole years. Now, if you're 3 years old, wow, congratulations. You've made it through a big chunk of life. If you are 6 years old, 3 years, that's a long time. If you're 10 years old, still 3 years old, wow. Or 3 years, that's a long amount of time. Think what you're doing 3 years ago. Ew, I don't want to think about it. All right, but 3 years, that's how long Jesus got with his disciples and instructed them and taught them. So when we're thinking about this, it's not like Jesus came and then left. He didn't assemble the posse and then say, all right, we're going to just leave it at that. No, he teaches them. He walks with them. He's helping them. So that goes into what we're saying. Jesus isn't going to bring you in, tell you, hey, I love you, I care about you. All right, go make it happen. And he's going to leave. No, he's right there with you. So Jesus can't use me. Yeah, he's standing there waiting for you to do the next kind thing. He's waiting for you to use your mouth to be kind to your sibling and not tear them down. He's waiting for you to take your hands and love somebody. Hug your mom. You know, your mom does a lot for you. How'd you go give her a hug? And stop complaining about stuff. Yeah, I'm calling you out. 5th grader, 4th grader, go do it. So don't tell me I can't be used 5 years old, 6-year-old. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. And Jesus is giving you practical steps right here through my mouth to tell you, hey, this is what you can do. Okay? Alrighty, guys. So my challenge for you this week is to let yourself be used by God, whatever way that is. Mr. Johns was very specific. Very, 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 very specific. He was saying that you need to go and do certain things. I'm just saying keep it broad. The verse we're looking at again this week, and I love it. I love it. I'm glad that it was last week's and it's this week's. It's John 3:30. And I'm going to read it for us. And I'm a big fan of writing verses down and putting them somewhere where you can see them. So parents, I don't know if you're into this, want to help with this. I mean, why not? I mean, it's a great verse. But it's very simple. It just says, this is talking about Jesus here, must increase, but I must decrease. That's it. So what do we got to do? Do we got to help our mom out with the dishes? Not when she asks and begs 3 times, but just saying, hey, there's a lot of dishes and I live here. I probably contributed most of those because I eat cereal 3 times a day. All right, I'm going to go help out. That's you decreasing and increasing somebody else. Maybe it's your sibling. Maybe they've fought and shoved and pushed you and just been so mean. Hey, you can have the Xbox first. I'll wait. It's really crazy when a 6-year-old does it to an older kid. That's what I'm blown away. So 6-year-olds, once again, hey, I'm 6 years old, I can't do anything. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Okay? So this week, we're going to see and purposely live for us decreasing and Jesus increasing in whatever way that looks. Okay? Alrighty, guys, I'm going to pray to end us. I don't think I prayed last time. I love to pray. So let's go ahead and pray, and we'll finish up our time together. Dear Jesus, I thank you so much for coming to earth, God, and not just saying, all right, here it is, we're going to leave, and I'm just going to kind of let y'all figure it out. No, you walked with those disciples. And God, Jesus, you are walking with us today. when things are going on that we don't understand, when life is unpredictable, when we don't understand why this is happening, God, you are walking with us, God, and we're so thankful for that. We forget it sometimes, and we live our life like you're not there, but God, you are. Just because we change doesn't mean you do. God, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for these boys and girls. God, help the time that we get to, or that we're in this space go by quickly, and God, we long to be together again. We love you so much. In your name, amen.